Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. The huge balance patch is here. 20 cards were changed, 3 were nerfed, 17 were buffed, so how did that affect the meta? It affected the meta a lot. For this video I've been able to compile together 13 decks, the 13 best decks to play in the current meta right now. All of these decks are capable of climbing all the way to Legend. The ones at the bottom of the list are of course a little bit slower, and the ones at the top are a little bit faster. All of these are doing quite well at the moment. Of course, these are still the early days of the new meta. There's still a lot of refinement to be done. We can see in many of the decks that the deck choices are being changed. We're starting to find out ways to live in the post-Naga Demon Hunter world. Aggro Demon Hunter, Naga Demon Hunter, it's gone. Below 50% deck at the moment. It looked like it could stay at 50% for a while, but now it's just below that, and it's a new meta. And something new, something old, and something quest. So 13th best deck in the game at the moment. It's Quest Warrior. And Quest Warrior, there's not a lot of innovation going on with Quest Warrior. I'm not sure if this is the best possible list. This is exactly the same list that has been the most popular Quest Warrior list throughout the expansion. And yeah, it's still doing well. It rose up quite high at the start of the new patch. It's already coming down. It was like 52% anymore. So not that 60 that it was on the first day of the new patch, which is nice. It's still a great deck against all sorts of control decks. It's great against those Curse Warlocks. There are still too many Curse Warlocks on the ladder. Curse Warlock is not one of the top 13 decks, by the way. Curse Warlock, just the win rate numbers are going down real fast. But the presence of Curse Warlock has artificially buffed up Quest Warrior a little bit. So maybe Quest Warrior is not here to stay, but it is the uncrowned defeater of all the new players in this game. So maybe it will always find its niche. Anyway, number 13, Quest Warrior. And coming in at number 12, we have Burn Shaman. Burn Shaman has some good matchups, strong against Mech Mages, strong against Beast Hunters. Beast Hunters, one of the rising new stars, but Burn Shaman continues to have multiple weaknesses as well, including weaknesses to all control decks. Any sort of control deck, and yeah, Burn Shaman is going to struggle with that. Throughout this expansion, Burn Shaman has been a niche player. It's been a deck that has constantly stayed above 50%. Somehow it's just always viable, it's just always playable, but it's never been one of the absolute top decks. And that trend does seem to continue, even after the balance patch. Of course, Burn Shaman was not touched, it didn't get any buffs, it didn't get any nerfs, but the overall meta has not become so much more favorable for Burn Shaman that it would be able to rise up many ranks. Then coming in at number 11, we have the Naga Mage. I'm not sure if the ping name is really needed anymore, because there are no other style of Naga Mages anymore. Every single Naga Mage that you are ever going to come across nowadays will run this Wildfire, Reckless Apprentice, Murderous Fire Eye package. It's just the way the deck has found a win condition, because sometimes you just of course fill your board, you get a bunch of Nagas, you play half your deck, and then what? If that doesn't win the game, then what? And the answer to that one, of course, is the ping package. And yeah, Naga Mage, still a viable deck. Not great, not terrible. Managing, slowly being able to climb. Overall, decent deck. And number 10 is Control Warrior. Control Warrior is a little bit lower now than it used to be. In the fight between Control Warrior variants, the Charge Warrior, the combo finisher variant right now is the stronger one, and this regular one is the weaker one. It used to be the other way around. Kazakusan just outvalues everything. But nowadays it seems to be more important to be able to just burst down your opponent and end the game a little bit faster. About the Control Warrior deck itself, Rancors have been cut. No need to run Rancor even a single copy anymore, because Aggro Demon Hunter is no longer a thing, there's no more targets for Rancor. The main aggro deck, real aggro deck, is Murloc Warlock at the moment, I guess. And Murloc Warlock typically gets some buffs, so it's not really vulnerable to Rancor anyway. But other than that, fairly similar list than before. Warlock Ravager, still an excellent tool for Control Warrior for drawing all of your Murlocs, and still a fine deck, still a solid deck for climbing, even though not one of the fastest. And at number 9 we have the current premium aggro deck. It's the Murloc Warlock, a deck that basically builds itself. There's a couple of variants. There's like one that runs these Lushwater Mercenaries, there's another one that runs Tidehunters instead. Mercenary seems to be a little bit stronger than Tidehunter, but basically you're trying to get your Asaran Scavengers, you're trying to get your Chum Buckets, you're trying to get some of those major buffs going. And do not underestimate Gigafin. Gigafin is actually one of the very best cards in Murloc Warlock. It's just, there's so many decks out there that can't handle the Gigafin. Gigafin only destroys enemy minions, by the way, so yeah. You can also just destroy all the taunts and get your Murlocs through, and even if that doesn't happen, then, well, many decks can't kill the Gigafin behind the taunt, and then those minions from the enemy are gone for good. And Murloc Warlock, the premium aggro choice. Control Paladin is also still around. Control Paladin is actually having a bit better of a time, because Control Paladin has a difficult time against Control Warrior, but now the better Warrior archetype seems to be the Charge Warrior, and Control Paladin can outlast Charge Warrior. Control Warrior with Kazaku-san, there's just a bit too much stuff going on there, you just can't hold it together, you can't hold the defense against all of Kazaku-san, but you can hold defense against a single combo. And yeah, Control Paladin, still a fine deck to play. The weakest current Paladin archetype, weaker than Mech Paladin, weaker than Handbuff Paladin. But if you like this slower game style, like to clear up some boards and then press your hero power button until your smite is sufficiently big and then boom, have it go face, then Control Paladin, still a good deck. Mech Mage is also still around, not a whole lot to say about this deck. The main choice, I guess, is between Shivering Saucers and Iron Deep Trog. I've been trying to follow which variant is better. I thought that the Saucers variant was better, but right now it starts to look like maybe the Trog variant is inching ahead in the current meta. So yeah, you get to change your Sorceresses for Trogs and yay, off you go. However, at number 6 we have something actually new. I was a little uncertain, like, what is Serpent Week really going to do? Is Serpent Week going to enable this sort of Naga Priest deck that just plays Nagas and buffs them? And yes, it's doing exactly that. Serpent Week in Naga Priest, by far the best card in the deck. It's the card that you want to keep. Serpent Week, Priestess Felicia, those are basically the cards that make this deck. The ability to just get those weeks out there, the ability to replenish your mana crystals, just build some boards. Now that weak gives more health than it gives attack, that also means that it's stronger with bless, because now you will have minions with a lot of health and you can bless them, and then boom. It's not quite Divine Spirit Inner Fire, but it's actually starting to work. One thing that I am a little bit concerned about when it comes to this archetype is that the best matchup for this archetype by far is Curse Warlock. And Curse Warlock I don't think is going to be very popular in the near future. It's been very popular right after the patch, so the performance of Naga Priest should be coming a little bit weaker, but overall the matchup spread doesn't look that bad. So it looks like even if there were 0 Curse Warlocks around, Naga Priest would still be able to climb the ladder. So yeah, play Serpent Wig on some Nagas and boom. Alright, that's something that the patch gave us. And this is something else that the patch gave us. At number 5 we have Thief Rogue. Yes, Maestra of the Masquerade is back. You never know which class you're going to be playing against, because they all look like something, but then they all turn out to be rogues in the end. Wildboar Gnoll, completely unnerved. Now just a very strong card. Overall, there's still a lot of bad Thief Rogue lists around, makes it a little bit difficult to properly evaluate Thief Rogue. Like, when you look on things at archetype level, you're going to see like, hey, Thief Rogue does like this and that, but actually Thief Rogue as a concept includes so many decks. But overall, the Thief Rogue decks that are more aggressive, that are less memey, yeah, you still don't want to be playing with Tess. You probably don't want to be playing with Hooktusk. I'm not sure if you even want to be playing with Sarok after Scabs. Maybe you can fit either Hooktusk or Scabs into a Thief Rogue deck. Maybe you don't want either of those. Just use your tempo, pow pow, null null, boom boom, Mr. Smite, Krakatoa, face, damage, people explode, that sort of stuff. And yeah, Thief Rogue is doing fine when built properly as a tempo deck, as an aggressive deck, not as a slow value deck. And at number 4 we have the currently better performing warrior archetype, which is the Charge Warrior. So Captain Galvangar, Battleground Bellmaster, Faceless Manipulator, to the front, just combo them down. Sometimes you get to combo early, sometimes you get to do some from the depths Finley stuff, play for a lot of tempo, maybe with Nellies and things. You can play surprisingly a lot of stuff on the board and then just kill people. But when it comes to the top 3, the most buffed deck in the game, Beast Hunter. Beast Hunter received 3 direct buffs in the patch, more than any other deck. And yeah, Beast Hunter was already like slightly above 50% deck, and now it's really great deck. I played CDC's version of Beast Hunter recently, the more beast-focused deck. I really loved playing with that, but the best performing Beast Hunter deck seems to be the secret one. Dunball the Bunker, maneuvers, explosive traps, freezing traps, ice traps. Just that secret opener, and then transitioning to Beast from there, with Wandar Stormpike also included, so you can get some really cheap stuff going. Harpoon gun, now that it dredges and reduces the cost by 3, so you can harpoon gun on 3 and go from there into a mountain bear or hydralodon on 4. That's just crazy things can happen with this deck. And it is currently one of the 3 best decks in the game. But the best two decks are Paladin decks. Paladin is the big winner of the patch. Mech Paladin, hey, it doesn't really need any buffs, it's just great. One thing that I would like to point out about this Mech Paladin list is the presence of that Battleground Battlemaster. Like, that's one of the first signs that we're seeing how tech cards are starting to be a little bit different now that we're past that Aggro Demon Hunter meta. Like, Battleground Battlemaster, Aggro Demon Hunter meta, not a very suitable solution, but right now you just want to end those games, and Battleground Battlemaster with your big mechs really helps you do that. And Mech Paladin, it's really hard to say which deck is number 1 and which deck is number 2. Mech Paladin is a little bit more polarized. When it's weak, it's a little bit weaker, but it is favored against Handbuff Paladin. Whereas Handbuff Paladin is a little bit more steady. Even its weaknesses are not that big of weaknesses, but it is unfavored against Mech Paladin, so yeah. Bit difficult to choose, but I think Handbuff Paladin has a slight edge, and that's why the number 1 deck in the game at the moment, Handbuff Paladin. Handbuff Paladin is, we're also seeing a little bit of effect of the patch, like Cornelius Rome, for example. Cornelius Rome used to be by far the weakest card in every Handbuff Paladin list. Right now Cornelius Rome is not a great card in Handbuff Paladin, but it has been able to rise some positions, so it looks like Cornelius Rome actually might be able to survive in Handbuff Paladin right now. I'm not completely certain about that. Maybe it's still useless, but it's definitely better now than it was when you had to take hard for that Aggro Demon Hunter matchup. We're also seeing a little bit more room for cards like School Teacher. School Teacher, just generic, great, very solid, very strong card. A bit slow if you're in an Aggro Demon Hunter meta, but right now in this meta looks a little bit stronger. So we're seeing decks adapt slowly to the non-presence of Aggro Demon Hunter, cutting some of those tech choices, including tech choices more relevant for the current meta, and that's how the game is going forward. And right now, if you want to climb the ladder all the way to Legend, the best choice for that, Handbuff Paladin. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.